Hi, my name is Rudy Arona. I'm an Autodesk certified instructor and an applications engineer here at ATG, specializing in the architectural and engineering building industries. I want to welcome you to our presentation for uncovering the mysteries of Autodesk 360 Collaboration for Revit. Today we are going to focus on some of the features and benefits of this new collaboration tool available for Revit users. Typically in the AEC industry, there's always extensive collaboration between team members and other disciplines involved in a project. The goal is to coordinate as best as we can to ultimately complete the project in a timely manner, meeting project due dates and reducing errors and omissions as much as possible. Proceeding on forward, the main question is going to be, what is collaboration for Revit? So Autodesk A360 Collaboration for Revit is a cloud-based service application that allows a user to host a project to its database on the cloud. C4R then allows a user or administrator to assign individuals from any office location or company to utilize a work collaboratively in a project. Multiple users are able to communicate and transfer documents, all stored in one convenient location for optimal coordination and communication. Even individuals involved in the project that may not have access to the Revit model can use C4R to view the project real time during the design phase using model devices like an iPhone, an iPad, or a tablet. I also would like to mention that C4R is only applicable to Revit 2015 software products such as Revit 2015 Architecture, Structural, and MEP. C4R is not compatible with earlier versions of Revit or Revit LT. So before going into depth on some of the features and benefits of C4R, you may ask yourself a straightforward question. What is the business value of this product? First is centralized access to product data for all team members. And I want to emphasize on the word all. You have the ability to streamline the process for file sharing by eliminating the cost and inefficient methods for sharing models. Typical methods currently used in the industry may be the use of FTP sites, sharing software or emails with attached documentations and PDFs. I'm sure most of you have used one of the methods I've mentioned before, and it can be frustrating when some of your team members or partners have issues accessing your FTP site or vice versa. Documentation is frequently lost and poorly managed when having to sift through hundreds of emails to find an attachment or a change of information pertaining to the project. However, this feature eliminates both the opportunity for information to be lost and allows a smoother transition for file sharing of all types of documents, including the project model. Second is no IT setup, hardware costs, or maintenance, so no need for further additional costs for server installation, setup, and IT training, which is huge savings on your part. Another feature is the context communication accessibility. With the Revit software, you'll be able to receive notifications of new chat messages, connection requests, and sync statuses for work sharing models using the communicator chat tool in Revit. Know who's in the model and what changes are being done at all times. Utilizing A360 integration allows better collaboration for members using Revit as well as external team contributors for the project. So this feature enables project members to view, search, and socially interact with the project members and models. They stay current with the project activities despite not having the software or access to Revit. This can be done at any location where there's internet access. So sheets and views from the model can be seen in real life time, and even allowing the ability to select certain individual components from the model to view properties for certain contents such as manufacturer, model number, material, and cost. You can also take advantage of Autodesk 360 Secure Cloud Database, store all project and design data in Autodesk 360. Administrators also have the ability to assign permissions to certain individuals, granting access to the content. They also have the ability to remove the project from C4R at any point. So that process will typically be after the project has been completed. The model or the project can then be archived in the local network server. So project roles. Team owner is the person who owns and purchases the license entitlement for the project hub. So when you start a project, automatically the project hub is created. That's going to be the team owner. So this individual also has an administrator and team member allowing them to designate an individual team member, invite project users, and also have access to inviting additional team members to the project. Team administrators can figure out whether or not a team member sign-up requires team administrator approval, or whether team members can invite project contributors from outside the company. So this role has the ability to also designate or invite other team members, as well as reassigning roles or editing team member profile information. Team administrators can also delete, move, or copy content in the Autodesk 360 Team Hub. Going on further, we also have team members who can browse all projects except secret or locked projects. They can see the other team member profiles and invite other team members if allowed by a team administrator. Team members also have access to deleting, moving, or modifying content both on the project hub and in the model itself. Project owner is an individual that creates the project. So by doing so, they automatically become a team member as well, giving them access to some of the administrative authorities, such as the ability to designate or invite other team members, as well as reassigning roles and editing team member profile information. Project monitors have the ability to invite other team members, update project page including the project logo perhaps, or they can approve or reject invitations made by other project contributors and project members. So this user can also delete, move, and modify content as well in the hub and in the model. So the concept of collaboration for Revit is to create a working environment that is fully coordinated amongst all disciplines involved in the project. It enables multi-firm synchronization in Revit across all networks, amplifying the work sharing capabilities of Revit to extend outside the office to multiple locations and other firms. C4R in Revit will provide you with the tools and documentation, coordination and design, and accurate model complete and ready for construction. So with that said, I want to now jump into how to set up this collaboration for Revit network and how you can get that started in Revit. So first thing I want to do is I want to open and launch my Google Chrome application. Reason why I'm opening up Google Chrome is within the software there's a viewing capability that I'm able to view sheets and models if you don't necessarily have Revit. If you're a user that's not a Revit user, you can view documents and view the model, view the sheets. In order to have that availability, you'd have to use the Google Chrome application, so there's just a little heads up on that. First thing I want to do is just open up my Autodesk 360 team. I want to sign into that using my credentials, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. Once the collaboration for Revit is signed up and you have purchased that, you're going to have access to setting all this up. And the first page, the first thing that you're going to be able to see is this Autodesk 360 dashboard. It's going to display all your projects that you have displayed and you have created. So I simply just signed in. The first thing to be able to create a project is I'm going to go ahead and just use this icon, this Create Plus icon, and I'm going to hit Project. So that's going to be the first step in initiating this whole process. At this point, I'm going to be I'm designated as a project owner and creator of this, having the administrative and member permissions. So I first want to just give some project details. First off, maybe the name. So if you would like to set out a purpose for this, you can also do this as optional. Here are your privacy settings. This is where you can allow this model to be open or this project to be open, closed, or if you wanted to assign a secret settings to this, this is going to, again, require an administrator or owner to come in and establish access to certain users that are being invited for the project. So you can use that option as well. I'm going to keep this at open. And as far as the project members, you have the option of setting up and sending out the invites here in this process. But if you don't know at the time that you're creating the project, that's not a big deal. We can use other tools after it's been created to invite other members. So I'm just going to go ahead and say create. So now I'm looking at my new project here in C4R, Collaboration for Revit. I named it Test Project. You can see here at the side in my panel I've got project, data, people, calendar, and wiki. So these are a couple of options here that we have. Obviously I'm in my project tab. If I wanted to invite people, I can either go to my people's tab here and I can request or invite people. I can also, in my projects tab, I can also invite people through here as well. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I do have another individual that I'm using to be part of this project in this presentation. It's going to have their own model. It's going to be a big part of this as well. I'm going to go ahead and add them really quick. So that invitation has been sent out. That invitation is going to go straight to their email, allowing them and giving them access to this project so they can be able to access the models and even upload information. So at this point, I'm going to go ahead and switch over to my Revit program. And I have a couple of models that I want to access. So it's going to be a business center that I'm going to be accessing. It's an existing building that I have created. There's an architectural model and there's an MEP model involved. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show how to first off create, open up these models and then bring them up to Autodesk 360, maybe link them together and show how we can have the collaboration between the two models in one project and be able to communicate back and forth and collaborate accordingly. I'm going ahead and open this up. I want to access whatever database that you're using, whether it's on your local file, your network, you can open up one of these files. There's my architectural file there, and that 001 is just a backup in case some of you are wondering what that is. It's just a backup there. So I'm just going to open this up. So as you can see, I've got my model here set up, and I'm just going to close that communicator out without looking at that right now. But I've got my model displayed. This is just a typical model with no work sets enabled here at the bottom. So with the work sets not enabled, if you're familiar with the Revit environment and using Revit, you would know that the typical process for work sharing and enabling the work sharing capabilities is to enable the work sets. That's going to allow multiple users to work on the project at once. That's not, as far as setting that up and getting that created, it's not going to be the same process. So at this point, I have my architectural model. First thing I want to do is I want to send that up to C4R. So I have, once it's installed, once Collaboration for Revit is installed on your computer, you have the access to the Collaborate tab here, and you've got your Managed Collaboration and Communication panels. You do want to make sure that you are signed in. So if you want to sign into your Autodesk 360 account, you want to make sure that you have that signed in, or else you won't have access to the cloud content. First thing I want to do is hit my Collaboration button here. It's going to give me a couple of options for collaborating. How do I want to send this and enable my information in my model? I want to collaborate using Autodesk 360. I'm going to say OK to that. So here's my office architectural model that I'm currently in. Now that I'm signed in, I have access to select the projects that are created under my account. So I have, or any accounts or projects that I'm involved in. And so A360 projects, I can hit this drop down, select Collaboration for Revit, Test Project, and I want to initiate. So Revit's now going to go through the process of enabling the work sets. It's also going to upload the model to A360, and eventually it's also going to save the model, my local model on my machine. Once that's saved out, I will then have access to utilize the model and add any content that I wish. Any content that I add, I will simply just synchronize that up to the central file, which will go up to the cloud. You can see the status bar down here. It's loading it up. Depending on how big and how the size of the model, it's going to depend on how fast that loads up. Typically, it doesn't take too long. And if you bear with me, it's going to pop up any moment now. So at the moment now it's saving my local file. You can see the progress bar here. And I get a little notification here saying that I've successfully initiated collaboration using A360. So I can go ahead and close this out. And if you notice here in my quick access toolbar, now I have the option to synchronize. And if I synchronize, that's going to go up to my A360 account on C4R. It's going to go towards that project. So I can now continue and work on this as if it's a local file. Now, first thing I want to do is I want to open up my communicator tool here, which is to the side. You can see that my invite for Jeff Landers is also in here because he does have access to it. So I have direct access to be able to speak with him. And we'll go through the communicator in detail on explaining how that works. At the moment, I do want to switch over to Jeff Landers' computer. And right now I'm accessing the architectural model. So I still have an MEP model that I want to coordinate with. That MEP model is not up in the cloud services yet. So what I want to go ahead and do is he has access to that because he is designated as a mechanical engineer in this project. So he's actually going to be the one that's going to be uploading his MEP model to the project, and then we can go about showing how to link that into the project as well. So I'm going to go ahead and switch presenters for him. So now we should be viewing Jeff Landers' computer. So first thing I want to do is see if I received that email to join the project. So I can see here, Rudy Rona invited Jeff Landers. I'm going to go ahead and access the project. That's going to automatically take me straight to the project. Now, if I'm set up with collaboration for Revit, it's automatically going to sign me in. And I also have a notification here. If you notice here at the top right, I want to select that. That's going to let me know that I have been asked to join this project. If I select that, I can then accept it. Once I accept it, now I'm part of the project, and you will see me here pop up. You'll see Jeff Landers pop up where it says project members. So I'm acting as if I'm Jeff Landers right now, just not to confuse anybody. Close out of this. And now you can see where it says people, I have Jeff Landers, which is myself, on this computer, and I have Rudy Arona as the project coordinator and owner. So now that I have this pulled up, I want to upload my MEP model. So going about the same process, I'm going to launch Revit. I'm going to go to Open, and I want to access my MEP model that I have for this project. I'm going to select that. I'm just going to open. Typically, if you're used to working in the Revit environment and working with these models, you have these three options here at the bottom. Audit, detach from central, and create new local. For C4R, we're not going to worry about any of these settings. Obviously, you see that they're grayed out. These settings do not apply in Revit. C4R will go ahead and establish the central models themselves once you go about this process. So I'm just going to select my model and say Open. So I've got my MEP model open now. One thing I want to do is I'm going to link these models in. Now at this point, this project's already kind of gone away. I've already got progress on this project. So what I want to do is since I know I'm going to be linking in the architectural model, I don't leave walls in here. Those walls are going to overlap whenever I link it in, and I wouldn't want to reference those walls. So at this point, I'm just for this project's sake, I'm going to remove all these walls so that when I do link that in, I don't have any problems. So now I want to initiate and I want to fill this up to collaboration for A360 as well, so going about the same process. And it's asking me to save my model before, so I'm just going to go ahead and save it. So now I have the option to fill this up for collaboration A360, so I'm going to go ahead and say OK to that. And again, the same process. Now I'm utilizing on Jeff's computer using my Office MEP model. I'm going to go ahead and fill that up for collaboration for Revit. I have that available because I was given the invite. So I'm going to go ahead and initiate that. Again, this process is not taking too long. It does go through I like to call it a 3-step process. So, starting the working sharing, enabling that, uploading the model up to A360. Obviously, your internet connection is going to vary on how fast that's being thrown up there, and also saving the model locally, allowing me to work on it on my machine. So once I've done that, I can go ahead and say close. At this point, since I already have my model, this is where I'm going to start to link in my models. So now I'm locally, I'm working in the MEP model collaboratively. I want to be able to work and access the architectural content as well. So what I want to do is just come up to my insert tab here, and I'm going to go about linking my model just as I would any other typical Revit project. So I'm going to go ahead and link the Revit model. Because this project is now thrown in collaboration for Revit, the first thing that pulls up is my collaboration for Revit test project, which is the folder that I have my architectural model in. If you don't see this when you first pull up the dialog box, you can look here on your left, and you can see that you have external resources. If you select that, you can also go into Autodesk 360 through here, and you can select the folder that you're a member of. You can select that. It's essentially the same directory that we were just in. So I'm just going to go ahead and select my Office architectural model. I want to make sure that I'm using origin to origin. This is going to allow the models to be in the same coordinate system as the architect has established it, keeping everything aligned and in place accordingly. So I'm going to select that and say open. All right, so now my architectural model is linked in, and I can see that it's grayed out because it is a linked reference file, and this is the MEP project. So now that I have that, I've already initiated and thrown up my MEP model onto C4R, I now have access and the freedom to be able to work collaboratively in this model. And so I can go ahead and start working in this. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is switch back over to my machine, and I'm essentially going to do the same thing. Since I've created and uploaded my MEP model, now I can reference that MEP model into my architectural model. So I'm going to go ahead and change back. So now back into my architectural model on the other side, now acting as Rudy Arona. I'm going to come over here and I'm going to go through the same process on inserting and importing linking in the MEP model. As you can see, it took me to that same directory, having access to the MEP model, origin to origin. I'm going to say open. Now, once this is an initial single-time, one-time setup as far as linking the models. Once they're linked in, from this point forward, anybody else that's invited to the project is simply going to select the open icon to open up a project and either select architectural or MEP, and both of those files are going to have either the architectural model linked in or the MEP model linked into the architectural model. So you'll still have the individual disciplines working in their own individual model with the associated links, and essentially they'll have both of those models working collaboratively on the cloud-based service. So now that I have the MEP looked in, I can also look at my links, manage links, and see in fact that actually is referenced in. So now I want to use my communicator chat tool here, and I want to maybe make some modifications. So I'm going to first make some modifications to my architectural model, and then make the communication across the different team members, letting them know what change I've made. So first thing I want to do is I want to maybe adjust one of the floor plans here that I have.
Nope.
First thing I want to do, I want to go ahead and create a floor plan. I don't have a floor plan 1, so I'm going to go ahead and create a floor plan 1. Going to assign an architectural plan template to that. Okay, so I've got my electrical or my plan here. Go ahead and change this discipline to architecture. Had it created, I had it placed in the wrong place. So there's my drawing. Now maybe I want to make some modifications here. So my drawing, my drawing here is not exactly how I want it to be, so I'm going to make some modifications to it. I have some rooms here that aren't really established correctly, so maybe I want to make some modifications right here in this area. One being, this elevator here, it's the elevator shaft that's going up to my second level. That's something that needs to be coordinated on my side. Maybe it was an error that I made. So I want to go ahead and adjust this wall. Let me trim it up to here, allowing full access there. And I also have this wall here that maybe I need to enclose this mechanical room and electrical room that kind of got messed up at some point along the project. It's typical. Things happen. So I want to go ahead and try to do that. So I'm going to go ahead and use some of my features here, my modification tools. And I want to enclose this area. By doing that, I was deleting a room. Not a big deal. And I want to enclose this area as well. So I want to maybe use my expansion tool here. And I want to move that room, change this to my mechanical room. And now I want to set in another space for this. So we go into my room separate, my rooms. Name this electrical room. Previously 109. So I made that modification and change. Now that that's done, I can go ahead and maybe this doesn't look like this too right either. So I'm going to go ahead and delete this wall as well. So now that I've got my room enclosed, both modifications, I want to coordinate and see how that affected my RCP plan. So I'm going to go ahead and go to my RCP. And I can see I've got a separation here, room separation. So I've got two ceilings. Let me change my detail level. So I remove that ceiling. Maybe I want to edit this boundary now to make this a continuous ceiling. I may, right now, it's a gypsum board ceiling, so I may want to change this to a 2x2 system. Again, I'm changing the RCP. That's changing and adjusting the grids. Obviously, I have some, this is going to be for my MEP model, I have some lights that are placed in here in the HVAC diffuser that I noticed that's not coordinated with my ceiling structure and my RCP. So maybe that's something that I need to coordinate to my mechanical engineer to make that modification accordingly, since I've added these walls in here and that space. So now that I've done that, Jeff Landers is actually invited on the project, so I can communicate directly with Jeff Landers, letting him know what changes I have made. So first thing I want to do is once I've made my associated changes, I can go ahead and I can save that out. So I want to go to my Collaborate here. I can say Save Essential, Synchronize Essential. Using the Synchronize Essential here on my comments, I have the option of putting in what changes I have made. So I want to actually I want to go back to my other view so I can get these room names right whenever I'm putting this in. So I'm going to say modify walls for electrical room 109 and mechanical room 110. Modified associated ceiling and grid. So I'm just putting a brief description. This is for my architectural team members that are going to be working in my architectural model. When I do this, I'm actually in my communicator, I have a log, and this log is going to be a stored log of all the synchronizations that have been made. And if I use the comments area there when I'm synchronizing, I'm able to keep a log of the changes that I made whenever I synced that and made that modification. So I can keep track of that. As soon as that's completed, I'm going to show you where you can find that in your communication tool. All right, so once that's done, let's go ahead and say relinquish. And now I can come to my communicator. I can look at the timeline. So this little icon here is the timeline icon. That's going to tell me the active model that I'm in. Also going to give me my updates on when I save that model out to the central file up on the C4R. And it also gives me a little short description when I type that in of what change was being made. It also will show the individuals that made that associated change. So that's just, again, for this project for the architectural model. Jeff Landers is not able to see my synchronization because he's not in my architectural model. But he is a user, and he is also invited to this project. So I have access to be able to communicate directly with him. And this little green light indicates that he is in the project as well. But he's actually in the Office MEP Revit model. So I can see that this is my active model, and he's in the Office MEP, but we're still coordinated. If I wanted to send him a message, I can go ahead and do that, letting him know that I've made the associated changes. So I have the option of sending an image if I already have an image readily available. Or if I wanted to take a capture screenshot, I can go ahead and do that as well. I also have send the file, and if I wanted to export the chat history that we have, maybe for documentation purposes or to show or verification, I can do that at any point as well. Right now I want to use the capturing screen capability, and maybe I want to enclose my electrical room and my mechanical room. I want to capture that. When I capture that, that image is automatically shown in at this bottom area here, my chat. And maybe I want to go back to my other view, my ceiling plan, and maybe I want to show his mechanical and lighting devices and the RCP and show how that needs to be coordinated as well. So I'm going to take another snapshot of that. Okay, so it only allows me to do one at a time. So I might do that and say refer to attached image for modified rooms. Also making a clip of the RCP. So sending just a quick message, please refer to RCP and coordinate the changes accordingly. This feed here is just directly associated with Jeff Landers and I. I can send this over to him and he has access to that. If you have troubles sending, you can hit this a couple of times. Usually that's dependent on your internet connection as well. I'm not sure why it kind of had to do this a couple of times, but it went through now, so he should have already received that message. So now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to switch over back to Jeff Landers' computer. I've already saved, I already relinquished, so these changes have already been gone up to the 360 Cloud. I'm going to change Jeff Landers as a presenter again so that we can be able to look at his screen and see how that comes through. So now in the MEP model on Jeff's side, I'm able to look and see my communicator here. And I can see I'm working in the project steadily. I can see that since I'm in the project, that chat automatically came through. Sometimes you'll get little notifications. This will be red and you'll have a little 1 on it. Kind of give me a notification that there's a message in here. Since I was already in it, I already populated and popped up. So here where's my messages that I've been sent over to Jeff Landers. Refer to image for modified rooms. I can select that. And here's my room, so I can see clearly that this is my electrical room, and these walls have been modified. Okay, that's good. If I go through down a little bit more, please refer to RCP, coordinate changes accordingly. And I can see that the RCP has been changed here. My devices aren't lined up with the ceiling. So I'm going to go ahead and close out of that. I know what changes I need to make and with respect to which floors and which rooms. So I'm going to go ahead and make those changes. But before I can do that, I need to reload my architectural model that's associated to the MEP model. The way that you would typically do this in the regular Revit environment, I would go to my collaboration bar and say reload latest. For C4R utilizing the services here, this process here is not going to work. And so what you would want to do is you would want to access your linked models. And from this portion, from this area, this dialog box, the Manage Links dialog box, I can select my associated link and I can do a reload from here. When I do reload it from here, you can see the saved path is on Autodesk 360. So when I make a reload here, it's going to update my model accordingly. So I'm going to say reload. Now that that's reloaded, I can say OK to that. And my model and my walls should have changed. So I can go ahead and go to my, let me find my floor plans here. Go to my mechanical floor plan 1. And I can see that there's been some changes here. Maybe I want to go to my ceiling plan to be able to accurately see where these are placed. Now, right now, I have a generic ceiling in here, or a ceiling that was placed, modeled in for the MEP users. This was just to reference to the architectural model because it has not been linked in yet. So I'm going to go ahead and turn off my ceilings to my model, because now I want to reference my architectural ceiling. So I'm going to go ahead and turn that on in my architectural link. So that I can reference the architectural ceilings directly. Now I can see that's been placed. I can modify my air terminal if it's a little bit off, which it is. So I'm going to go ahead and move my diffuser. Maybe center line it. So that's already coordinated with. I know that I also have lighting. So in the image, I noticed that there was not only just mechanical, but there was also lighting that needed to be coordinated with. So I'm going to go ahead and access that too. So if I can go ahead and see if I can find, we're going to use my coordinated RCP view. And if I don't have one for this specific project, I'm actually going to go ahead and create that. So now using my coordination model here, again, these are spaces that were put in by the MEP users that are no longer applicable, and so I'm just going to go ahead and delete those these extra spaces out. I would have to then reestablish the space because it's been changed and coordinate that with what the architect brought in. But for this exercise, we're just going to adjust some of the lighting that we have in this space. So again, just so we can better see this, I'm going to change this to medium. And now I can use some of my modified tools to place these lights a little bit better. This is not quite where I want this to be, so I'm going to go ahead and move this as well. So if this is what I would like, obviously this is probably not a typical. This is actually going to be. Oh, so it's a transformer. I'm going to go ahead and leave that back. That's more than likely that transformer is against the wall or on the floor. So I'm just going to leave that. That's not going to be in the ceiling. What I want to just adjust is my lighting. Maybe I want to add another light here. So once I've done that, I can now send maybe a snapshot back to Jeff or to myself, to Rudy Roda. This is again acting as if I'm Jeff Landers. I'm going to go ahead and make the changes. I made the changes. I'm going to go ahead and save that out to the essential file. So I've changed and adjusted the lighting and mechanical diffusers. For the electrical room and mechanical room. On first floor. So again, this message is going out to the team members that are in my MEP model. They're going to be able to see the status over here in my timeline whenever that upload is complete. So if I go to my timeline, I can see it's actually synchronizing. If I have multiple users on the project, I'll be able to see everybody that's on the project and see when they're syncing in and what changes they have made. So when that's saved and synced successfully, that's going to show it here. Also, I want to come in and I want to tell Rudy that I've made these changes. So I'm going to go ahead and double click that. And maybe I want to make a screen capture of this. And say lighting and HVAC are now coordinated. Send that out to myself. Again, depending on the internet connection, you may get this this little sending failure, but it's not a big deal. It's just I've got it sent in. So now that that's complete, that's using the communicator tool here to keep track. You can also look at the main contacts. So if you'd like to add people to contacts, contact lists, very frequent or uncategorized contacts, or even others. So if you wanted to add just contacts in general to the project, you can do that. You can also see the active model and see the people that are associated to this model who are in the model. So just using your communicator within the tool within Revit and C4R to be able to collaborate together and have essentially two different models from two different disciplines and two different firms, two different locations, collaboratively working together in C4R. I'm going to go ahead and switch back to myself. Now back in my project, if I'm completed and I'm done, I've already synchronized. Again, if I wanted to see those RCP or the mechanical changes here, go to access my Revit links, manage links, and I want to go ahead and reload this. Okay, that also in my communicator here, my chat for Jeff Landers, I can see that that change has been made, showing that change there. And I can also see once I've reloaded that model, I can see that my RCP has been changed and the lighting devices have been changed and the supply diffuser has also been changed here. So that's using C4R to collaborate between different models and two different locations and different users. With that said, I want to pop back really quick to my Autodesk A360 account using Google Chrome, and I want to display kind of what I'm looking at. So I want to look at my projects really quick. So again, having the capability to be able to view certain projects, despite not having the software, I'm not a user. If I was on site and I have a tablet or an iPad or an iPhone, and I wanted to take a look at some of the components and the model real life, this is continuously updated whenever you sync up that information up to A360. So if I have access to this, if I was an invitee, a member, and I didn't have Revit, I can still view these files. So if I go to data, I can see that I have these different files. I can select architectural model, I can double click that. And now we're going to look in the object viewer. Again, this is only available with Google Chrome, so you want to make sure that you have that installed and you're using that, that search engine to be able to show this. If not, it's going to pop a notification that's going to tell you that you need to get an access, Google Chrome to be able to see this feature. So using this feature, this is again somebody that doesn't have access to Revit. I can pan around the model. I can orbit and see certain elements of the model. This is just looking at the architectural model alone. I can also come through and I can see versions. So I can see what version it is, when was the last time that somebody went through and updated and modified the model. The actions that were taking place. And I'm just going to go ahead and just go to that. Also, if I want to click through, I can also view the sheet. I can view the 3D model, which I'm currently in. I can also come through and view the individual sheets for the project. So without making any kind of modifications or messing things up, I can view the sheets fairly easily. Everything that's composed of this project I can look at, as well as the MEP model or anything that's involved. So I can also search through an item if I know by name. If I'd like to, I can place tags. I can share these models or these pictures and these images to anybody that I'd like to. I can also download these as well. One cool thing about accessing the 3D model here, not only can I orbit around and pan, but I also can do a walkthrough and a camera view as well of the model. Additionally, you can add comments. I can point at certain areas of the building and add a comment, maybe a note that I need to collaborate with current team members and making changes to the model. I can also explode the model. So if I hit this, I can actually control and explode the model. I'm not affecting it in any way in relation to Revit, but what I'm doing is merely viewing it for myself to be able to see it, individual components of the model, maybe the stairs I'm trying to look at, maybe I'm trying to look at the railing in particular, or the curtain panels, or maybe even this door. If I wanted to select a component, I can select a component. I can also look at the properties of that component and see what it is, the constraints, the frame type, any information that's embedded in that object is going to be readily available for the end user in this viewing application. So that's the viewing application for this. That pretty much covers A360 C4R collaboration for Revit. So with that said, I'm going to go ahead and pop back to my presentation here. So again, that concludes the webinar for C4R collaboration for Revit. If you have any questions or you need any additional information, please contact your ATG account manager, or you can email sales@atgusa.com, and we will direct you to your account manager. Also, if I would encourage you to please follow the link above to view the upcoming events and presentations from ATG over Autodesk products and to register for an invite to attend. Once again, I would like to thank you for attending our webinar. My name is Rudy Rona with Applied Technology Group, where our main focus is to build stronger relationships with our clients, resulting in greater success. Thank you for joining.